Endeavour loses all hope, All For One's biggest weakness is revealed, and Class 1A's true ultimate duo appear. Let's talk about all of this and more as we dive right into the newest chapter of My Hero Academia. So My Hero Academia Chapter 354 is finally out, and with it we finally get to see the number 1 and 2 heroes' ultimate confrontation with the King of Villainy himself. It's a battle countless years in the making. But before I begin talking about this chapter, don't forget to Detroit smash that like button and slide on into that subscribe button's DMs to hit that notification bell. And now, without further ado, let's jump right into My Hero Academia Chapter 354, titled Right Here. This chapter opens up with a brief flashback to the heroes' planning stages of the war, where we see Hawks and everyone's favorite jean-cladded warrior, Best Jeanist, discussing All For One's greatest weakness: his mask. They discuss how, thanks to Stain's stolen records from Tartarus, they learned that All For One did in fact escape from the prison while carrying his huge life support chair. So, they can safely assume that he does in fact need his breathing apparatus to not only remain functional, but also to stay alive. With this information, the heroes ultimately decide that the best course of action for taking down All For One is for them to gather a group of heroes with super powerful offensive quirks and have them use their quirks in sequence to destroy his mask, ultimately defeating the King of Villainy once and for all. And with this revelation, the story cuts back to the present, where we see Endeavour and Hawks, the number 1 and 2 hero, both rushing towards All For One, ready to unleash their full might. And so the fight between the number 1 heroes and the King of Villainy finally kicks off, with All For One unleashing a torrent of air slashes at the heroes, but Endeavour counters this move with his Hell Curtain technique, which Hawks uses to his advantage by throwing his feathers through the flames, causing them to catch fire and fly towards All For One. Now that's what we call a combo move. However, unfortunately for the heroes, All For One quickly picks up on the hero's plan and where they are aiming, allowing him to not only block the incoming feathers, but also Hawks' sneak attack from behind with his feather swords. Having countered the number 2 hero, All For One decides to do what he does best, and he begins to taunt Hawks, commenting how not even the Great Recovery Girl was able to bring his wings back to their former glory. But Hawks, in response to this, just laughs, and jokes that it looks like both him and All For One are already way past their prime. Endeavour then catches up to All For One and unleashes a barrage of Vanishing Fist attacks, which, as All For One notes, can't be negated by his damage reversal quirk, as it can't counter heat-based attacks. However, during this relentless assault, All For One realizes that Endeavour's entirely out of sync with Hawks. So he decides to call out the number 1 hero, announcing how it's unfair that all the other heroes are giving it their all in this fight for their lives, but his mind is being distracted by something else. And All For One tells Endeavour that he really should be happy. His masterpiece has finally gotten rid of his defective failure, which unsurprisingly immediately gets under Endeavour's nerves. Exactly what All For One wanted, which also forces Hawks to yell at Endeavour to calm down and not to fall for All For One's provocations like All Might did in Camino. But All For One, being the supreme ruler of shit talk, knows exactly how to get under Endeavour's skin, informing the former number 2 hero that for a long time now, he has actually been keeping a close eye on the Flame hero's career and life, noting how he doesn't miss a chance to plant the seed when he finds good soil, essentially saying that Endeavour is just the right amount of insane that All For One didn't have to do anything to turn his kids against society. He knew Endeavour was a fuck up. And to really send the message home and to get into Endeavour's head, All For One leaves Endeavour with the final comment, "You didn't find Toya's body back in the day, did you?" Officially letting Endeavour know that it's because of him his son was truly taken away. In hearing all of this, Hawks realizes just how compromised Endeavour is, mentioning how, unlike himself, himself, who has moved on from his past and his family, Endeavour is still trying to make up for his previous mistakes, which leads Hawks to believe that in his current state, Endeavour wouldn't be able to bring himself to fight Dabi, reaffirming to himself that it was most certainly the right choice to separate Endeavour into his team, and right now he has to do everything he can to support Endeavour. Unfortunately, the fast-paced hero is too slow, as before he can reach Endeavour and tell him to cool his head, Endeavour, overcome with emotion, charges All For One screaming his name, which is the exact opening All For One was looking for, who utilizes the hero's recklessness to land a devastating blow on Endeavour, taking out a chunk of the side of his torso in the process. And in typical All For One fashion, he gladly lets Endeavour know that, right here, you lowered your defenses. Hawks, in seeing all of this happen, screams out Endeavour's name and tries to go help, but he is cut off by All For One, who refers to Hawks as Nagant's replacement before launching a long-range attack on the hero, which All For One claims he will not be able to dodge. And he's right, Hawks can't dodge this attack. So with the number 1 hero down and the number 2 hero about to be obliterated, all hope seems lost. That is until, just in the absolute nick of time, none other than the Queen of Hearts herself, Jiro, arrives on the scene atop a flying Tokoyami, and she uses her super move, Heartbeat Wall, to block All For One's incoming attack. Hawks, in shock by this, tells the two heroes that they shouldn't be here, and that if they don't run away, they'll soon be killed. But Tokoyami ignores this warning, and says that although he's not as strong as Endeavour, he'll stay there to synchronize his attacks with Hawks, which seems to shock the number 2 hero again, who probably assumed that his young bird disciple would never want to work with him after learning the truth about what he's done. But to be honest, I think Tokoyami probably ate that shit up and loved Hawks even more. You know that filled the void of his little edgelord soul. And with this, chapter 354 comes to an end, as All For One reveals that in the old comic book he read with his brother, several of the secondary characters were killed by the Demon King, and it's high time he lived up to the hero he so admired. But Jiro, in sassy Jiro fashion, merely replies that he should leave all the trash talking to after he's sure he secured the victory. Overall, this was an alright chapter. There was some pretty good action, and to be honest, I was happy to see this cast of characters return. Endeavour failing to fight in his emotional state is very fitting for his character, and him temporarily, oh you know it's only temporary, being taken out opens up for an interesting return and possible self-sacrifice for the character. Tokoyami finally meeting up with Hawks again is a great moment for both of these characters, and the fan favorite, and to be real, one of the elite of Class 1A, Jiro coming along and not only blocking All For One's attack, but trash talking him back is honestly amazing. I'm genuinely excited to see Jiro shine, and I hope she gets to stand out. With the current pacing of the series, I can't tell if next week's chapter will continue on from here, or if it will cut away to the other heroes again. But to be honest, I'm kinda hoping it keeps the focus on the likes of Kirishima, Mina, Jiro, and Tokoyami before getting back to the main cast. I want to see these stars really shine. But let me know what you think of this chapter. If you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and comment what you think is going to happen next. For more My Hero content like this, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra.